Hello everyone and welcome to another Daily Muppet. I've got some good information today I want to share with you. I want to talk a little bit about Manchester United players on international break, their performances, how they're doing, what's happening with that, discuss it a bit, a few comments, and then I actually have quite a fair bit of kind of transfer news, as it were, some specifics on different things, contracts, positions, a few names that I want to discuss, a bit of early work being done and preparation for next summer, how it pertains to the window, and all of that. So I want to get into all of that, go through it all, and give you the updates, because doing what I can to give you everything that I've got at the moment, and there is actually some news. So let's get into it. First, this video is once again sponsored by OneFootball. We've teamed up with OneFootball to help bring you the best in football news. If you're looking to keep up with all the latest news, scores, updates, information, all of that, the OneFootball app should be downloaded on your iPhone or Android today for free. Their easy-to-use app is clean and attractive. You get the latest transfers, top news curated for you, match scores, live streaming without subscription, and so much more, all built and personalized for your interests. Click the link in the description below today to download the OneFootball app and get all your football news, aside from the Muppeteers, of course, all in one place. So, getting into the overall gist of things, I want to talk about United players. There's been a lot of talk over the international. It feels like it's been very eventful for United players over the international break. In good and bad ways, it's been very eventful, right? I just feel like it has a lot of breaks. You don't really hear much. A lot of them skirt by, but there's been a lot. Some good, some not so good, and others. The biggest one, first and foremost, is of course Harry Maguire. Obviously, at the moment, you've been getting, there's a lot of debate about the criticism of him, about the talk of him, about his performances. He had a bad game. Well, I wouldn't say a bad game. Maybe it was a bad game. He seemed to be performing well until making a bad error leading to a penalty for England. Definitely not a game that's going to quell any doubts and worries about his form, all of that. And certainly he's having a very rough go with it. And here's the thing about it. Martinez, Varane, they're clearly are United's top choice center backs. They're clearly better than Harry Maguire right now, and maybe for the long term, probably for the long term. So just, again, all I want to say about this is that, Ten Hag is running his team a certain way where players will be selected based on whether they're performing or not. Harry Maguire is on the bench because he's not performing. If he performs well, he will get off the bench. So I think that, we don't need... I understand that there's been times in the past under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and others that as fans we feel like, what are you doing playing players who are crap continuously when there's better options? It has happened. It has been a concern, and then you're not getting results and you're thinking, you need fan pressure. Not that I think it makes any difference, but you think it's necessary. At this point in time, realize that all the stuff around Harry Maguire isn't going to help him play better, which is bad for us. It's bad for us. What if we get an injury? Or they can't play 60 games a year? It's bad for United if Maguire is off of his game. Just recognize that. As a United fan, just recognize that. It's bad for us if anyone is off of their game. But it's especially bad if players who will need to play are off their game. Just like it's bad if Ronaldo can't play, just like it's bad if Martial is injured. It doesn't matter right now who you're at, where we're at. Players are only getting picked based on deserving the spot. So we should want a lot of competition. And I'll talk about that in a minute. So I just think that it's all good. Criticize, talk about the things that are going wrong, all of that, fine. Do what you want. Maguire's not playing well. It's hard to see how he gets back because things have gotten so toxic. And his obviously confidence is totally shattered in this area. But we'll see what Ten Hag can do in the lead up to the World Cup. And we'll see what happens at the World Cup. I mean, England aren't exactly going into it guns blazing right now. So we'll see what happens. But, it's going to be, it's concerning in that, you would like to see him do. You'd like to see right now to me, I would like to see any one of all of our players getting into form, because I think we're going to need them. I think it's going to be necessary in the end for everybody to play well for us to get where we need to be. We need a deeper team. We need a team that can compete across all fronts. There's a lot of games to come, and it's going to be a really packed schedule. That's my feelings on it. So I hope he can get back into form, but really struggling at the moment confidence-wise. On the other hand, you have a fair few United players who have been excellent, who've continued their form. So obviously, Rashford is injured, but he's been with United. He should be healthy soon. Martial, I'm not sure where he's at. Sancho didn't go. Brazil's doing well. They've got another game, I believe. So you've got that with Casemiro, Fred, Antony. But Bruno Fernandes and Diogo Dalot were flying for Portugal in that last game. I mean, Bruno was doing fantastic. And Dalot scored 2 goals. He's been moving more, and you can see him moving into that central area a lot more. So that's only good to see this form translate. Bruno, we need to see him continue to improve his game, but he was creating chance after chance after chance. Dalot scoring goals, and then same can be said for Christian Eriksen. Absolutely vital for Denmark. They beat France with Raphael Varane not involved. France played really well with Varane involved. Without him involved, they struggled to keep clean sheets. They struggled to stop the goals. And Christian Eriksen did something like create 8 chances in that game. He's been phenomenal. So again, Eriksen, Bruno, Dalot, Varane, you're seeing these core players for the top choice 11 who are killing it on international break. And you want to see that because it's been a long time since we played a league game. You want to see them still in form, still performing well, still playing well. So it's very exciting to see that. Luke Shaw scored a goal to kind of spur that English comeback. I think he was actually very good for England. And again, good competition. Malaysia was impressing for the Dutch team. I think Martinez did well with Argentina. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to, who's on international break, essentially, from the important players on the team. McTominay's apparently just killing it for Scotland as well. He is transformed. So it's just amazing to see this, but it's good to see that again because you want to see United players performing best on the international stage as well. That's how it should be. That's what we want. That's what we want to see. I love it. It's awesome to see that, and hopefully that means these guys are coming into this week against Manchester City with full confidence, full everything. So moving on to budget and transfers, I have a fair bit of news on this that let me think how to kind of explore this best and state it best to make sure I'm not missing things. So number one, what I've been told with regards to a couple areas of the pitch, the areas of the pitch that were the biggest priority were being looked at, where specifically goalkeeper, a midfielder, a striker, and a right back. And so far from what I've been told in these positions, Christian Eriksen's performances have reduced the need for a midfielder or the urgency for a midfielder because they feel they have their first choice midfielders at the club for the next couple of years. Especially with Scott McTominay coming up and all of that as well. But with Casemiro, McTominay, Eriksen, Bruno, and Fred, and then youth coming through, it's unlikely. You've seen stories about Jude Bellingham. There's no money for Jude Bellingham. I need to make that clear. There's no money for Jude Bellingham at this point in time. So just don't expect that. So I don't expect. I've been told not to expect a center mid as kind of dropping down the pecking order of positions to purchase. At goalkeeper, Dean Henderson is at the moment, like I mentioned before, he was supposedly set to be watched by the club and see. Not impressing at the moment. They're not happy with his performances. They don't feel like they're blown away. So they are on the look for a top-class goalkeeper for next summer that will likely have to be funded by 2 things. One, potentially then the sale. And this is early, so performances change and all that. That could obviously change. But right now, the scenario that's being looked at is top-class goalkeeper funded by David De Gea taking a reduced contract to stay or leave, which would free up a ton of wages, and Dean Henderson being sold. And that would be the plan. Like the plan A at the moment is that if things do not change with the performances significantly on the Dean Henderson front. So that would be the plan right now. That would be the ideal scenario from the money and the coaches. At right back, Ethan Laird is impressing, and so I've been told to reduce our expectations for a right back purchase because it is looking like Ethan Laird coming in is probably the way forward for the right back situation. Striker continues to then be the main name, the main area of concern, the main area that the club want to look at overall for a purchase in the next summer, the significant purchase. And on that front, what I've been told is a couple of things too. The feeling right now is that Ronaldo will leave for free next summer at the club. In terms of there's a couple of names. I've heard Ivan Toney again. I'm still hearing about Harry Kane. I don't know if that's considered based on what happens with Tottenham and all that. Obviously, Harry Kane would fit. He's older, but he would fit the Ten Hag model of striker extremely well. And so that would be a potential name there that I'm hearing, but again, expensive. And then we talked about Osimhen before. They've looked at some free agents for other areas of the pitch. If players if they did need a center back, they've looked at Milan Skriniar, who's been offered to United in the past that Joel Glazer turned down. They looked at Milan Skriniar for next summer. I believe he's a free agent next summer. Let me check on that. Let's see. Real quick, I should have looked this up beforehand. Yeah, they're trying. Yeah, there's been a report that they could sell him for 20 to 25 million in January if contract talks go badly, just from a couple of days ago. And so he could be available for free, or he could be a center back name that doesn't take away from the budget if Lindelof or Maguire were to move on. So just think of it that way. Again, there's not budget for center back, but if one of them go, he would be a replacement that they have looked at and explored, and has some admirers at the club. So there's that there. The other thing is that in terms of new contracts, I already covered free agents, so I've already kind of covered that as I'm getting into here. But the other thing is in terms of contracts. Diogo Dalot and Marcus Rashford, from what I've been told, will have their 1 year triggered very shortly. And those are the two where contract talks are expected to start. The other ones, they're not going to offer them, they're not necessarily offering them new contracts. I think it's, as I said, David De Gea, Fred, and others. They want to see where things go due to their age and all of that. But Dalot and Rashford are expected to have their 1 year contract extensions triggered in the next few weeks to months. Usually that happens in October based on past years. And then those are the two that right now they're looking to discuss new contracts with. I don't think the new contracts will come out until after the new year or be finalized till after the new year at the earliest. But those are the two that they're looking at new contracts for. As I said, with David De Gea, they're going to want to reduce his contract and not extend the other year as an ideal scenario. So that's probably not going to be addressed until closer to summer. Fred, they'll probably end up extending, but they may not sign a new, look to anything with a new contract depending on how things go. And I don't remember, there's someone else expiring. They'll probably just let expire. So that's where things stand. That's kind of the update. So in overall, the goalkeeper scenario, you have Dean Henderson not impressing. So right now the ideal that they're leaning towards is find a top-class goalkeeper, sell Dean Henderson, and allow De Gea to leave or reduce his contract to stay. It's early doors. A lot could change on that, but that's the way some people are leaning, and that there's a certain direction being pushed at the moment. Right back, Ethan Laird is the most likely signing. Center mid is an unlikely signing right now. Strikers, where all the money is expected to go. They're looking at free agents or cheap signings in other positions like center back. If someone like Lindelof or Maguire were to end up moving on in the next summer, Milan Skriniar is a name. Ivan Toney, Harry Kane, Osimhen from earlier, and Nkunku is still on the radar. And some of that's going to depend still, of course, on Anthony Martial in terms of the profile. So, some information. Tried to run through it all quickly, not drag it out too long. That's what I've got. Let me think what else. I have not been told that anyone that they're yet looking to sell, Harry Maguire or Lindelof, but I think that they're keeping their eyes open now for players if they cannot figure it out, they cannot get back into form. But you're going to be looking for cheap players in that on that side of it. And these are the positions that are mostly being prioritized and where things are heading at the moment. Okay, so thank you for watching. Hope this was informational. I'll get to doing preview of Manchester City. There might be some team news that I have in the next day or two with regards to fitness and injuries that I can share. So I will hopefully do a video on Wednesday or Thursday as a preview to Manchester City to talk about that. It's always debatable whether you want to reveal something like that early, but I have some potential team news on a couple players actually in terms of fitness. But we'll get back to that later. So again, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. I'll see you in the next video. If you enjoy FIFA and things coming out, I've been doing fun little streams and things like that. So make sure to head on over. Make sure to join the Discord if you haven't, and hang out. And I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching.